Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'd like to call the meeting of June 22nd, 2021 to order. And first, I want to announce, please forgive me for my casual attire. This is Bike to Work Day. And so I rode my bike this morning with a really wonderful group of folks. And it's kind of hard to wear a suit and tie while you're riding your bike. But in any event, it was a fabulous experience. I understand that there is a physical quorum here. Is that correct, Mr. State's Attorney? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, we've got more than. Oh, yeah, we got a great meeting. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. A physical quorum of the members is present. I will entertain a motion to permit those members not physically present due to the coronavirus to participate by video or teleconference. There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. So our meeting has been called to order. We have a quorum. I'm going to ask for Member Greg Hart. Would you be kind enough to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing as we move into our invocation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If I may, we do have an invocator with us this morning, but I'd like to ask that we observe a moment of reflection for the folks that were impacted by this storm on Sunday night. Please. And with that, I call on Pastor Wendy Bowden, South Minister, Presbyterian Church in Glen Ellen, to lead us in invocation. Pastor Bowden.
If you guys be more comfortable and be seated, that would be good, because otherwise I'll move that your meeting's all done. So anyway, you know, the Presbyterians are what gave us our form of government, right? John Witherspoon was the only clergy to sign the Declaration of Independence. And I want to thank you for inviting me, because I've lived here since 2008. I grew up in California and Connecticut, and I've never quite gotten a handle on Illinois politics. And I have been praying to understand it better, and I got this invitation. So no longer will you be names on a piece of paper. You will be real flesh and blood people, and I've made a commitment to pray for you until the end of this calendar year, once a week. So God bless you and your work. Let us pray. Beloved God, I hand before you these servant leaders, and I bless them in your name, and I ask that you give them the gift of grace and wisdom and compassion, that they might faithfully carry out their work. And I also boldly ask that you care for their households, so that as they do their work, they would focus on the task at hand, knowing that you are holding their families and their friends in your hands. And we do bless the people of Naperville as they recover from that terrible wind Sunday night that scared us all. Bless them and bless the work of the people. In Jesus' name. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chaplin.
Here.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani.
Here.
Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog.
Here.
Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Here.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore.
Here.
And Zay.
Here.
Very nice. Thank you very much. We have a quorum. Everybody's present. We move on to the next order of business, entitled Chairman's Report. And first and foremost, I'd like to invite some of my mates from this morning's bike ride up here to join me. Sheriff Mendrick is here, ladies and gentlemen. He went all along the way, and he's tough, man, on the bike. He was leading the pack. And Dennis is here. Dennis Turdy, how are you, my friend? Elmhurst Bicycle Club? Yeah? No? You wish? Oh, yeah, and Eric, how are you, man? Nice to see you. Yes, yes. Have you missed me? So in any event, we're delighted that the sheriff and Dennis and Eric can join us this morning. I was more grateful than usual for clear skies this morning after such a rough Sunday evening. And I'll say a few words about that later. But this year we were able to reinstate our annual Bike to Work event, and we were joined again by Sheriff Jim Mendrick and an enthusiastic group of cycling and trail advocates. I'd like to thank our friends from Active Transportation Alliance, the Prairie Path Corporation, the East Branch Dupage River Advocates, and local biking clubs for all they do. Elmhurst Bicycle Club was prominently participating this morning. They got a nice club, I guess. Yeah. So I was thinking about joining that. I'm looking to look for things to do, you know. But in any event, I believe it's important to demonstrate our support for and commitment to the more than 500 miles of trails that help make DuPage County such a great place to live and visit. Really helps our quality of life out here. I think it's one of the envies of a lot of folks that aren't in this region. Our bike trail system is really is quite impressive and getting more impressive. Today I'll ask you, the DuPage County Board, to join me in this annual proclamation calling attention to the importance of Bike to Work Week, and then we'll ask our guests to say a few words. So here's the proclamation. It goes as follows. Whereas bicycles are an integral part of the transportation system and offer benefits of a cleaner environment, less traffic congestion, and a healthier lifestyle. And whereas DuPage County has more than 500 miles of bikeways and trails for cyclists, hikers, runners, and equestrians that are used by more than 175,000 people annually. And whereas the number of bicyclists in the United States has increased significantly over the last decade, and significantly during the pandemic, I might add, from 44 million to more than 66 million. And whereas for 12 years, DuPage County has celebrated Bike to Work Week, encouraging residents to commute to work on 2 wheels instead of 4. And this year, the event is observed in the Chicago area during the week of June 25th through July 2nd. And whereas DuPage County commenced this year's Bike to Work Week by hosting a ride from Elmhurst to the DuPage County Government Complex here in Wheaton with a number of groups invited, including the Illinois Prairie Path Corporation, Elmhurst Bicycle Club, Ride Illinois, Spin Doctor Cycle Works, Active Transportation Alliance, Wheaton and Downers Grove Bicycle Clubs, and many dedicated riders. And whereas DuPage County, with support from non-motorized transportation advocacy groups, including the Illinois Prairie Path, Active Transportation, Ride, and many other groups, has been planning and implementing bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure improvements for more than 20 years to facilitate safe trips while using our expansive trail and bike path system. Now, therefore, I, Daniel Cronin, Chairman of the County Board, members of the Board, do hereby proclaim June 25th through July 2nd as Bike to Work Week in DuPage County, and we encourage all residents and organizations to bike to work and enjoy DuPage County trail system. I'll entertain a motion. Seconded. All those in favor say aye. The ayes have it, enacted this 22nd day of June 2021. I'm going to give it to you, Dennis, because you're the most impressive bicyclist out there today. So, yeah. Please, would you like to say a few words? Eric, you lead off here.
Well, Chairman Cronin and DuPage County Board, it is an honor to be in front of you today to receive this proclamation. The Illinois Prairie Path Not-for-Profit Corporation has a long and productive partnership with DuPage County. As Chairman Cronin mentioned, the county has done an awesome job in promoting trails, alternate transportation, as the chairman noted, to promote health and wellness, and just the ability to get out and see what a wonderful county we have and all the communities we have. It's a great way to make connections to nature, it's a great way to make connections to community, and it's a great way to make connections with each other. So with that, I'd also like to note that the Illinois Prairie Path Not-for-Profit Corporation actually built the Prairie Path back in the day. And that was kind of our first entry into the situation. We then had an opportunity of continuing that relationship as an advocate. with the county and trying to find ways where we can expand the reach of this amazing urban infrastructure throughout DuPage County and make connections with other counties also. So this is truly an honor, and thank you for this opportunity.
No? All right, well, Sheriff, please.
I'll be brief. I just want to say thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your leadership. This was a great activity today. It's very good to promote physical health and welfare for both our youth and our older people like me. So it's really good to be out there, see the DuPage County residents. I want to thank everybody who rode with us today. It was a beautiful day. The Prairie Path should not be missed. It is a spectacle of nature, as well as it reduces our environmental footprint if we start biking to work instead of always driving everywhere. Just want to say thank you. It was an honor to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's all. No, come on. Yeah, I wanted you to say something before. Please.
You know, just a simple thank you for your support. But I got to tell you, we asked people during the pandemic for comments about the Prairie Path. And I got to tell you, as a resident, as a community member, it was absolutely, absolutely phenomenal. People's comments genuinely said, you saved me. I can't believe how the Prairie Path did X, Y. And we didn't necessarily aggressively solicit it. So it's just great to have this organization supporting us, and it's great to have been a community service, surprisingly, during the last incredibly strange 460 days. Thank you.
Okay, our next presentation focuses on the Dupage Historical Museum, and I'd like to invite our friend Michelle Podkova to the podium. Welcome. Back in January and February, I was thrilled to pull together experts from the Dupage Historical Museum, Naper Settlement, and of course, you all remember Gwinnett Tilly Turner, as we trace the history of the Underground Railroad through DuPage and our video project with the College of DuPage. As all of you know, that was part of our year-long effort to examine issues relating to diversity and inclusion and to really try to talk about issues, talk about challenges, come together as a community and really examine. We thought that that was a much more meaningful way to observe the issues and culminating in the Juneteenth celebration. In any event, we're lucky to have historians working right here in DuPage. We're lucky to have Michelle Podkova. I believe understanding our past, of course, helps us shape our future, and so does Michelle. I'm sure that's what you're devoted to. So you're here with us today to give your annual report to the board, so I'm going to say welcome, Michelle, and please take it away.
Thank you for having me today. Despite a very difficult year, as you all know, with 40% of our time being closed, another 40% being under limited restrictions, we are happy to announce that the museum survived the year in good standing, and we were able to balance our budget, which is very difficult in such a difficult year. There is a full report that is digital, but I did condense it for everyone on a little form that you received this morning. Some highlights from the full report. The museum maintained a similar total reach, that is every life that we have touched, despite the fact that in-person visitors were not allowed in the museum for a lot of the year. We reached patrons instead of in person. This time it included more online content, social media posts, as well as virtual programs, craft to-go kits, and we have an artifact database that actually saw an increase in use as well in the last year. Our staff was able to adapt very quickly and work on virtual and hybrid programming when we were able to have in-person The hybrid is where it's virtual and in person at the same time. We will be continuing some virtual programs. Our craft to go kits will probably be staying around for a couple times a year. Virtual programming will always be offered now for anyone, schools, retirement communities, anyone that doesn't have the ability to come to our museum. It's a way that we can show the museum. We have virtual tours we've started putting on of all our past exhibits on our website. Staff maintained all of our exhibits despite the closures and the constant changing of dates with our exhibit schedule. That included a medicine exhibit called Healing Dupage, which was supposed to open April of 2020 during quarantine. We were able to open that in July, and we were able to revise it to include infectious diseases and a COVID-19 label. We do have an exhibit opening July 17th called Together We Win, Dupage in World War II. And I invite all of you to join us. Feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to arrange a tour at a time convenient for you. We did continue our research request services digitally and virtually, and we made it contactless so that people could still get their research services despite even when we were closed. And despite the fact that many of our revenue generators were canceled and our foundation was unable to have fundraising events in the last year, we were able to secure over $27,000 in grants at the very end of last year, which helped us balance the budget. So I'd like to thank the county board and the county staff for all of your support for the last over a decade, and I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has any questions.
Well, thank you, Michelle. Anyone have any questions, historical museum related questions? It's a real gem, it's a real asset. It's a shame it's been so difficult navigating through it, but you got through it, right? So to the extent that we can all promote the museum and really try to get people back there, you know, and engaged again. You can learn about the history of Dupage. Like, I've always been curious about who this Pierre Dupage is that the county is named after. I don't think many people know much about this French fur trader, but someday maybe there'll be like an exhibit over there and we can see like a hologram of him and we could talk to him or something like that. Wouldn't it be awesome? Yes, Greg Hart.
Yeah, no, I don't have a question. I just have a comment. I was one of those 1,300 visitors that came through the doors this past year, and I just want to commend you and the whole staff on all your fantastic work. It is really incredible to see the breadth of artifacts, information, and just the resources that are available through the History Museum. So thank you for all that you do, and hope we can play our role in encouraging people to visit.
Thank you very much. And that number of artifacts is over 40,000.
Wow.
So there is quite a large, they always say museums are like icebergs. You have a lot of artifacts tucked away, being protected from light and touch. So you usually only have about 2% of your artifacts on display.
Member Ozog.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to add, in tying in our Bike to Work Week, a wonderful bike ride to the Historical Museum and then a picnic lunch sitting on the benches in Adams Park is one of the nicest things you can do for yourself in DuPage County, especially on a beautiful day like this. Thank you so much for all your work.
Thank you.
Very nice. Anyone else seeking recognition? Well, again, thank you very much for the good work you do.
Thank
and
you.
I see Michael over there. Thank you for all the leadership and everything you've done to navigate through this pandemic, and better days are ahead. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Lastly, in the order of Chairman's remarks, part of the report, just a couple quick thoughts. So we all know it's been a rough couple of days in the southern part of the county, where Sunday night a tornado left a path of destruction from Naperville through Woodridge, Darien, and Burr Ridge. There was damage in all those communities. Several people were transported to the hospital. One was in critical condition. That person has been upgraded now to fair condition. I have been in contact with the governor and his team, and they've been very helpful and offered their assistance. Local officials we've been in touch with, been reaching out to folks in the area, and yeah, so I mean, I felt sick Monday when I saw the damage and realized how people's lives would be disrupted and how frightened they must have been. The damage in those areas was pretty dramatic. Of course, as always, our county emergency management team, public works, transportation, stormwater staff have joined our municipalities in helping out. It really is a great story to see how they've all helped each other and talking to mayors and fire chiefs and the interaction with Murray and our team here. It's been really, it's really, once again, it's just a really good chapter in the story of how we approach governing in DuPage County. The DuPage Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management coordinated requests from villages who needed equipment and help clearing debris. Thanks to our staff who worked literally round the clock. I mean, from I was getting calls and alerts. We all were, I know, from 2 a.m. till phone conferences at early wee hours of the morning. I want to thank Murray. Murray Snow's done a marvelous job. Nick is just awesome. Joan, just spectacular. The commitment is just really, really remarkable. All those folks that came together, all those DuPage residents and neighbors who just rolled up their sleeves to help, pulling away debris, helping to organize meals. I want to say thank you. I should also mention that we have our DuPage County Green Valley wastewater treatment plant down there in Woodridge, and I took a look at that scene, and it sustained some damage. The plant has remained online and functional, but in the coming days and weeks, we'll be working to repair and replace some damaged equipment down there and get our operation back to where it was before the storm. I think the big story here, if I may say, is people helping out one another, really. And neighbors helping neighbors, staff at local government levels, and so it's just that's the silver lining in all of this, and I think that's who we are, and I know we're all very proud of that. So that concludes my remarks. That concludes Chairman's report. We move on to the next order of business entitled Public Comment. Mr. Clerk, do we have any folks seeking recognition? There's Dana.
I believe Dana's going to read a comment.
Floating down the aisle. Remember that talk game show? Yeah, was it Dana? Yeah, right.
Good morning. Our public comment comes from Jan Shaw. Record of attendance only is the subject, but yet she goes on to say, I understand that DuPage needs to replace the tabulators, voting counting machines, because the current ones are old and no longer supported. My concern is that it be done properly. The last Dominion contract, which was signed in January of 2020 by the county clerk and her deputy county clerk, was never reviewed or authorized by any board. That contract was between Dominion and DuPage County in quotation marks. The whole county, not the clerk or the election division. She does not have the authority to obligate the entire county. Furthermore, it contained a paragraph about avoiding transparency and another about not letting anyone, again in quotation marks, reverse engineer or verify how the software works. These are our votes. Not being able to verify that it was counted correctly is most troubling. The new equipment is estimated to cost $10 million. Let's be sure to spend wisely. The good news is they plan to bring the proposed contract to the Finance Committee and then to the full county board for approval, so you will have a chance to review it. Please keep the following in mind. Our votes matter. It should be easy to vote, but hard to cheat. Remember, in quotation marks, trust but verify. If the citizens cannot verify, they will not trust. New election equipment must be made in the USA. Software should be open source and programmed to simply and accurately count votes. That concludes the public comment.
Thank you. Anyone else seeking to offer public comment that you know of, Mr. Clerk, Mr. State's Attorney? Any online folks? Okay. Well, that concludes our public comment. We move on to the next order of business entitled Consent. Consent, is there a motion? There's a motion and second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani.
Aye.
Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog.
Aye.
Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore.
Aye.
And Zay.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. On to the order of County Board. Member Selman in her absence, Liz Chaplin. Member Chaplin.
Thank you, Chairman. I move to approve CBR 032321 resolution appointment of Asif Yusuf to the Stormwater Management Planning Committee, County Board District 2 Municipal Representative.
Been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani.
Aye.
Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog.
Aye.
Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore.
Aye.
And Zay.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. On to the order of Finance. Member Liz Chaplin.
Thank you, Chairman. Just by way of committee update, just a reminder that the budget survey will be going out later today. We're going to push this out through a press release, social media posts, newsletters, and we'll be promoting it throughout the summer. So just again, a reminder to everybody, please share the survey with your constituents however you can. And we're really hoping to get a great response from our county residents. And with that, I will move on. I'll move on FIR 030221 resolution acceptance of a local technical assistance grant from the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning and the assignment by CMAP and the County of DuPage of Tasca and Associates, Inc. to assist county staff and partner communities of Hanover Park, Roselle, and Bloomingdale in the development of a corridor study overlay land use plan and the allocation of the required location contribution of 20%, $15,000 of the funding commitment between CMAP and the County of DuPage.
There's been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. Sorry.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani.
Aye.
Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog.
Aye.
Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy.
Aye.
Selman. Tornatore.
Aye.
And Zay.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Chaplin.
Thank you, Chairman. I move to combine and approve items B, C, D, and E under finance resolutions, all additional appropriations.
Sure.
Acceptance.
There's been a motion to combine items B through E. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The items are combined. Please proceed.
I move on FIR 030421, additional appropriation to establish the DuPage Bar Foundation supporting justice in our community grant, $1,000. Move on FIR 030621, resolution acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Department of the Health Care and Family Services Access and Visitation Grant, amount of $102,000. Move on FIR 031121, resolution acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Family Violence Coordinating Council grant in the amount of $38,800, and EFIR 030221, resolution acceptance and appropriation of additional funding for the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Trade Adjustment Assistance Grant in the amount of $158,370.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. I would entertain a motion to approve the previous roll call, but nobody made that motion. So. Been a motion.
Most favor all.
Leave is granted. Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you, Chairman. I move on FIR 032421, resolution placing names on payroll.
Second most favorable.
And a motion and a second. Request for favorable roll call. Leave is granted. Yes, for leave is granted. Please proceed.
Thank you. I move on FIP 030421, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to enter into an agreement with Mesro Financial Investment Management to provide 457 plan-related services, including strategic plan design, consolidation, and fiduciary services for finance in the amount not to exceed $54,000.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Move on FIR 032521, resolution appropriation of $15 million to choose DuPage to administer the Reinvest DuPage Small Business Grant Program.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Move on FIR,
Sorry. Oh, forgive me. Member Zay, forgive me. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, something's bothering me between finance and economic development the other day, if you can indulge me. You know, some board members said they had perception and ethical problems for the eligibility of board members. And, you know, it bothers me. I'm not going to apologize to my wife's family for being in business for 57 years here in DuPage County, the thousands of jobs they've provided for residents, the millions of dollars of local property tax we've paid over those 57 years. I mean, again, I understand what they're saying, but to say there's an ethical or perceptional problem, I don't apologize. I know many members of this board have businesses and work hard. And during pandemics, we weren't at home doing Zooms. We were there. I was a manufacturer. We were there because we were deemed essential. And then when we had a COVID problem, it's just not a couple things, a 35,000 square foot facility that has to come in and be sanitized. So again, I understand what the state's attorney is saying, but, you know, I'm wondering, any of us, you know, have jobs. I'm not going to apologize for having a job outside of the county board. I know some of our board members don't, but again, to penalize us when we're doing it for every other business in DuPage County and we have to go through a process, it just doesn't seem right. I understand what the state's attorney is saying. I'm not going to argue it, but I'm not going to apologize for my family being in business for 57 years here in DuPage and providing jobs in manufacturing, and then have people say, well, there's ethical and perceptional problems. I think that's just wrong, and it sends a bad message.
Further discussion on this subject matter that very few people even knew about, but now we know. Amy Chavez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say I think we celebrate all business here in DuPage, and I congratulate all of our business owners. I think the clarification that came out of economic development was just to ask state's attorney about any ethical or legal ramifications, and he did clarify that, so I appreciate the clarification.
Further discussion, Member Chaplin.
Yeah, just to make it, just so I think people understand, according to our Assistant State's Attorney, Connor McCarthy, I believe that it's prohibited in the state law. Is that correct?
It's not only prohibited by state law, it's prohibited by your ethics ordinance.
So we can't do it even if we wanted to.
So they're doing the right thing by going through this process, of course.
Even if the provision was silent, it would not be permissible.
Any further discussion? Further discussion? Okay, seeing none. Member Chaplin, did you make a motion?
I thought I did.
Was there a second? Yeah. Okay.
Second, Ozog.
Okay, there's been a motion, a second, a request for leave. Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Okay, hold on a second. Adam, okay, so we just voted on the 15 million? Or did we, because I made an approval too.
We're on item I now.
Item I, okay. So I move approval of FIR 032621, resolution approval of an agreement with Choose DuPage to administer the Reinvest Small Business Grant Program.
Second most favorable rule.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move on FIR 032721, resolution budget transfer 62221 from various companies and accounting units.
Most favorable rule.
Leave is granted. Thank you very much, Member Chaplin. A fine report. On to the order of Animal Services, Member Brian Krajewski.
Thank you, Chairman. I move on AS0046-0046-21 ordinance amending Section 5-71 of the DuPage County Animal and Rabies Control Ordinance.
Second. And a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Krajewski.
Aye.
LaPlante.
Aye.
Ozog.
Aye.
Lachowski.
Aye.
Renahan.
Aye.
Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy.
Aye.
Selman. Tornatore.
Aye.
Zay.
Aye.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Covert.
Aye.
Desart.
Aye.
DeCiani.
Aye.
Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
And Hart.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Chairman. I move on AS0047-21, which is an ordinance amending Section 5-32 of the DuPage County Animal and Rabies Control Ordinance.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Is there a request for leave? Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Krajewski. Another fine report. On to Economic Development, Member Amy Chavez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move approval of EDR 321-21, a resolution amendment to resolution EDR 0152-21, approval of issuance of payments by Dupage County to the training providers through the Trade Adjustment Assistance Grant fiscal year 19, intergovernmental agreement number 19661-006 in the amount of $127,902 increase.
Second.
And a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chavez.
Aye.
Covert. Desart. DeCiani.
Aye.
Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog.
Aye.
Wachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy.
Aye.
Selman. Tornatore.
Aye.
Zay.
Aye.
And Chaplin.
Aye.
Thank you very much, Member Chavez. On to the order of environmental. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Member Sheila Rutledge.
Thank you, sir. A couple of brief items this morning I want to touch on is the first is that it is Pollinator Week. And I just want to let our board members know that pollinators are vital to creating and maintaining the habitats and ecosystems that animals rely on for food and shelter. Worldwide, over half the diet of fats and oils comes from crops pollinated by animals, and they facilitate the reproduction in 90% of the world's flowering plants. So it's not just that we like butterflies around here, it's vital for our absolute existence to make sure that we're starting to pay attention to increasing habitat for pollinators. So every little place of grass that you can look at and say we could put a little bit of a butterfly garden there, please think of the pollinators to do that. Next, I want to thank Kay McKeenan Scarce. Had a tour of her facility last week with NAACP Chairman Michael Childress. Liz was part of that too. What she does there is unbelievable, and I just want to give her that credit for all she does for our environment. I also want to thank the First United Methodist Church of West Chicago. They received their Earth flag, and they collected 31,000 pairs of shoes. Get back to my page here to talk about their efforts, and I'm going to get to that. That was actually sold. Some were resold, and others went to produce BTUs, so they were fuel. So just so many ways that textiles are getting to be more recyclable these days. So please keep that on your watch. And the last thing I want to remind everybody is that you may get your printed agendas from Teresa, but I'm going to continue to remind people that we won't be printing them. You get them as via email, and you can get them from Teresa, so the individual agendas are going to go away. Thank you so much. I have one item on my agenda that is ENR 0316-21. This is a resolution, intergovernmental delegation agreement between the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency and the County of DuPage, a joint and cooperative inspection program.
Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy.
Aye.
Selman. Tornatore.
Aye.
Zay.
Aye.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Covert. Desart. DeCiani.
Aye.
Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog.
Aye.
Wachowski. And Renahan.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Thank you, Member Rutledge. On to the order of ETSB, Member Greg Schwarzy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you see me over here in Iowa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right field. Right.
I move to approve item ETSR 44-21, a resolution approving the transfer of inventory from the County of DuPage on behalf of the Emergency Telephone System Board of DuPage County to DUCOM.
And a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Schwarzy.
Aye.
Selman. Tornatore.
Aye.
Zay.
Aye.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Covert.
Aye.
Desart.
Aye.
DeCiani.
Aye.
Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog.
Aye.
Wachowski. Renahan. and Rutledge.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Mr. Schwarzy. Fine report. Let's move on to the next order of business, Health and Human Services. Member Renahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just some positive news to report from our Community Services Department. Our county partnership with IDA for rental assistance is off to just a wonderful start, with literally thousands of landlords and tenants being able to take advantage of the millions of dollars in rental assistance. So positive news there. We'll be getting more specific numbers as we go along. So with that, I will move approval of HHS R 30721, resolution with the second modification with CDBG with Little City Foundation, reducing the scope of work, reducing funding by $11,390, and extending the completion date through October 31st, 2021.
Been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Renahan.
Aye.
Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy.
Aye.
Selman. Tornatore.
Aye.
Gazay.
Aye.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Covert. Desart. DeCiani.
Aye.
Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog.
Aye.
And Pachowski.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Member Schwarzy. On to the order of Health and Humans. Wait a minute, what am I saying? We're already on it. Forgive me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move
Lack
approval
of
of HHS
oxygen.
R 30821, resolution for first modification, also CDBG with Ray Graham Association for People with Disabilities. This is reducing scope of work and funding by $73,817.
Leave is granted. Member Renahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move approval of HHS R 30921, resolution cancellation of an ESG CARES Act agreement with Dupage County and Prairie State Legal Services, reprogramming $25,500 in funds.
Leave is granted. Member Renahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move approval of HHS R 31021, approval for transfer of ownership and assumption of the Home Investment Partnerships agreement with requirement with Blue Stem Housing Partners, NFP, Finley Housing Partners, and Trinity Services.
Leave is granted.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move approval of HHSP 29321, a county contract with Benevate Inc., DBA Neighborly Software, to support the grant application and management process with the Community Development Division, July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, $45,000.
Leave is granted.
All right, thank you. I move approval of HHSP 29421, a contract with DB John Inc. to furnish and deliver ostomy, tracheostomy, urological, and enteral supplies, enteral feeding formulas with the Care Center, July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, not to exceed $112,572.
Leave is granted. Member Renahan.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move approval of HHSP 29521, approval of a contract to the American Bottling Company for beverages and fountain for cafes on the county campus, July 30th, 2021 through July 29th, 2022, not to exceed $50,900.
Leave is granted.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move approval of HHSP 29621, a contract with Standard Companies for trash liners with the Care Center for a 2-year period, June 23rd, 2021 through June 22, 2023, not to exceed $146,645.
Leave is granted.
And finally, I move approval of a change order HHSP 83A-20, amendment to resolution HHSP 8320 with Ecolab for laundry chemicals for the Care Center, April 24, 2020 to April 23, 2021. This is adding items to bid that were discontinued and to increase the amount by $3,000.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Renahan. A fine report. On to Judicial Public Safety. Member Renahan.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just to reiterate what you had said earlier, as chair of JPS, I just want to thank Director of our Emergency Services, Murray Snow, our DuPage DOT, our Sheriff's Office, our front staff, our ETSB, and our first responders for maximizing support services in this difficult time that we've had in my district, Naperville, Darien, Woodridge, and Burr Ridge. It really is amazing how entities pull together and neighbors supporting each other and to get recovery and response underway immediately. I'd also I appreciate the Director of IEMA, Alicia Tate-Nadeau, coming out today, and I was very glad to hear her compliment our Director, Murray Snow, and the county team on their everything that they've done, getting information and help out so quickly. So with that, I will move approval of the change order, amendment to resolution JPSP 34119, issued to Cell Phone Partnership DBA Verizon Wireless to provide cell phone usage for probation court services, increasing funding $30,000.
Been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy.
Aye.
Selman. Tornatore. Aye. Zay.
Aye.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Covert. Desart. DeCiani.
Aye.
Bekoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog.
Aye.
And Pachowski.
Thank you. Thank you, Member Renahan. On to the next order of business entitled Legislative, Member Desart.
Is it on? It is on. Excellent. Thank you. Interesting that you would have to tell me that as I'm a professional broadcaster, but I'll put it right in my mouth. Maybe it's the mask. But several weeks ago, Clerk Kazmarek presented to this body that DuPage County's election equipment is nearly 20 years old and will become obsolete next year. She estimated that the purchase of new voting equipment will cost taxpayers $10 to $12 million. My goal of having DuPage County support S1 is so that we don't leave any federal dollars on the table. S1, the For the People's Act of 2021, is 817 pages long. I'm not going to read it to you, but allow me to present a couple of highlights regarding federal funding opportunities for election equipment within this act. In Section 3000, federal support for election infrastructure, grants for obtaining compliant paper ballot voting systems and carrying out voting security improvements. Section 3002, coordination of voting system security activities with use of requirements, payments, and election administration requirements under Help America Vote from 2002, that's the HAVA Act. Grants for risk limiting audits of results of elections, and several other areas. I'll jump to Section 298D, authorization of appropriations. Authorizations are appropriated for grants under this part of the S1 of $1 million for fiscal year 2021, but then $175 million for each of the fiscal years 2022, 2024, 2026, and 2028. So I spoke with a woman named Amy Kelly, who is the Special Projects Manager with the Illinois State Board of Elections, responsible for coordinating and liaising with the federal government. One of the major projects administered by Ms. Kelly and her team are federal grant dollars that come to the state, in particular the HAVA grant or the Help America Vote Act. For those thinking that there are other bills coming along with federal grant money to help DuPage County pay for some or all of our election equipment, Amy Kelly tells me there are not. She said the state received $16 million in federal money, but that was too small an amount to allocate to the state of Illinois' 108 election commissions, which are made up of the 102 counties in Illinois, plus 6 additional election commissions. That $16 million then instead was used to increase cybersecurity for the state. Ms. Kelly tells me that S1 contains substantial amounts of money to help DuPage County and other election commissions fund all or part of our election equipment, again, which will be obsolete in 2022. I encourage DuPage County to support S1 at the federal level through a legislative initiative and through our federal lobbyist, Bill Viney. I would rather use federal grants to fund the election equipment rather than dip into DuPage County's reserves for the tune of $10 to $12 million to replace these expensive machines. Again, I support this because I don't want to leave any federal dollars on the table. So with that, I move that DuPage County actively supports S1, the For the People Act of 2021, as part of the county's legislative agenda.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second, and there's some folks seeking recognition, of course. Member Jim Zay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I voted against this in committee. I'm the only Republican that sits on the legislative committee. And as I appreciate the work that Chairman Desart has done, out of 817 pages, only a small part of this is about election equipment. Not one Republican in the United States Congress or the United States Senate supports this. This is not a bipartisan bill. This is a partisan bill. This has many things that I don't know why the county would be getting involved with, like giving the right for felons to vote. to federalizing the FEC and having the White House appoint it. We have, the redrawing of congressional maps, which is by the United States Constitution granted to the states, would be taken away and made federal. We had Congressman Caston in at our legislative meeting, and he said there was really no funding in this bill. There would be a follow-up bill to this. So I don't know if he was confused or we're getting mixed information. But again, out of 817 pages, there's only a few things here on this legislation that has to do with voting equipment. And if the county doesn't actively support this, we will still be able to go out and actively try to get grants from the clerk's office and everything for new election equipment, which I agree with Chairman Dessart on that. But this isn't the vehicle to be going and getting election equipment for. This is a partisan bill that looks to take away the powers of states and give it to the federal government when it comes to elections.
Okay, thank you, Member Zay. Further discussion? Further discussion? Anyone seeking recognition? Okay, seeing none. Oh, Member DeCiani, there he is.
Thank you, Chairman. I too have some concerns with this. I'm all for funding equipment. I'm all for counting ballots and making sure that everybody is counted. But everybody that's eligible, citizens, people who don't have convicted felons, this really opens the door to concerning a lot of challenge. We're hearing at the local level where CPS now wants to go to elected school board, and they want to allow anybody to vote, whether they're citizens or not. This bill has similar characteristics of that, and that's challenging. I'm all for, my family were immigrants. They came here, they were sponsored, they had jobs, they were weaned off poverty and worked their butts off and worked their way towards citizenship, which gives them the right to vote. This bill totally goes against that. This bill is allowing illegal immigrants to potentially vote, for felons to vote. I really am concerned with the language. I'm all for funding. I think we need to give our clerk the funding that she needs to succeed and not have to take it out of our general fund. But I'm really concerned that a lot of the language within this bill potentially opens the door to people that shouldn't be voting, and that's a problem. I'm all for getting everybody that has the right to vote, the ability to vote, and give them every opportunity to do that. But when you get into illegal immigrants, when you get into felons, I have grave concern there to the process. So I'm probably going to be voting no on this as well, even though I really want the funding. I just don't like the negative side of what it's going to actually potentially do to our country, and that's concerning to me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion, Member Pachowski.
This bill was 800 and some pages, and I understand there's a financial component to it, but are we voting in support of all 819 pages? I don't know if there's, if it's been adequately digested in legislative committee, but, the fact that there's our positions in this bill that I think are not favorable for the residents of DuPage County. I support the funding through grants as well, but I will not be supporting this.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Further discussion, anyone else seeking recognition on this endorsement of a piece of federal legislation, which I don't know that we've really ever done in the past, but we're doing it today. So anyone else seeking recognition? Anyone? Seeing none, hearing none? Is there a motion? There was a motion, so moved and seconded. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Dessart.
Aye.
DeCiani.
No.
Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart.
No.
Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog.
Aye.
Pachowski.
No.
Renahan. Aye. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy.
Aye.
Selman. Tornatori.
No.
Zay.
No.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
And Covert.
10 to 7. 10 voting aye, 7 voting nay. The resolution is adopted. Thank you, Member Dessart. On to the order of Public Works, Member Ozog.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hey, first of all, I would also like to thank In particular, the Red Cross, our public works staff who have worked so hard since Sunday night's tornado. So many people have worked as hard as possible to mitigate what happened here, and it was sudden and very alarming and damaging for many of our constituents. As for our Woodridge water treatment facility, as of right now, one of our 3 clarifiers is operating. The other 2 are being investigated for debris that may have gone into them. However, there's no disruption of water service to our water customers, and they are operating on regular electricity, not on a generator system. And so we're in pretty good shape. There was considerable damage to the northern border of the site, but they're working on it, and I really appreciate all of their efforts, especially that first 24 hours. Also, Public Works is cooperating with local municipalities with tree cutting, with chipping, clearing the streets, and working with all of the affected municipalities. Thank you again. Very difficult work, and they've had great communication and great effort. I appreciate that so much. Going on to our business today for Public Works. We've gone from 15 million to my first resolution here. I'd like to move for approval of PWR 031821, a resolution acceptance of a permanent water easement of $1 with the River Glen Apartments in Lombard.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Ozog.
Yes.
Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatori. Zay.
Aye.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Covert. Desart. DeCiani.
Aye.
Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. And LaPlante.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to move for item B, FMP. I'd like to move for approval of item B, FMP 0321, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Weatherproofing Technologies Incorporated for roof restoration work at the Henry J. Hyde Judicial Office Facility for facilities management for the period June 23rd, 2021 through November 30th, 2021 for a total contract amount not to exceed $836,000, $839.62. Contract pursuant to the Intergovernmental Cooperation Act, Omnia Partners, R180-903.
Been a motion and a second. A request for leave. Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I'd like to move for approval of FMP 030121, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Fox Valley Fire and Safety Company Incorporated for preventative maintenance, testing, and repair of the non-Edwards System Technology fire alarm and fire safety systems for county facilities for the period August 28, 2021 through August 27, 2022 for a total contract amount not to exceed $160,100, $148,200 for facilities management, $2,500 for animal services, $2,400 for division of transportation, and $7,000 for public works per renewal option under bid award 18153GV, third and final option to renew.
Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for approval of PWP 029821, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Roche Ford Commercial Truck Center for the purchase of one 2021 Ford F-150 4x4 pickup truck and one 2021 Ford Transit van for public works for a total contract amount not to exceed $50,926. Pricing and compliance with ILCS 525/2, Government Joint Purchasing Act, Suburban Purchasing Cooperative, 2021 Ford F-150 4x4 pickup truck, $28,553, SBC contract 1187, and 2021 Ford Transit van, $22,373, SPC contract 190.
Second will serve roll. DeCiani.
Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to move for approval of PWP 029921, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Curry Motors Fleet for the purchase of one 2022 Ford F-350 4x4 pickup truck for public works for a total contract amount not to exceed $56,259. Pricing and compliance with ILCS 525/2, Government Joint Purchasing Act, Suburban Purchasing Cooperative, SPC, contract number 178.
Second most favorable rule.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move for approval of PWP 030221, recommendation for the approval of a contract with AT&T to provide business analog lines and analog circuits for public works facilities for the period August 1st, 2021 through July 31st, 2022, for a contract total amount not to exceed $45,000 per most qualified offer per proposal P17002, third and final option to renew.
Second most favorable rule.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Ozog. A fine report. On to the order of
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
transportation. Member Don Pachowski.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Committee update. I want to thank the Department of Transportation. I want to thank all the departments at DuPage County. It's always everybody in a cleanup effort, and I support everything that we've done here in DuPage. We always have a team effort, and I want to thank all of our departments for all they do, for all the cleanup, and hopefully we get this thing behind us rather quickly. That being said, I'd like to approve DTR 31221, agreement between DuPage and Oxcart Permit Systems LLC for overweight, overdimension permitting service as needed at no county cost.
Been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Pachowski.
Aye.
Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore. Zay.
Aye.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Covert. Desart. DeCiani.
Aye.
Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. And Ozog.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Pachowski.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve DTR 31321 in awarding a resolution to Lord Construction for I-355's north abatement wall, 100% to be reimbursed by the Illinois Tollway.
Most favorable rule.
Leave is granted. Member Pachowski.
Move to approve DTR 31421, awarding resolution to R.W. Duntman for the Milton Township 2021 Road Maintenance Program. Estimated township cost $583, $138.13.
Second most favorable rule.
Leave is granted.
Move to approve DTR 31521, awarding resolution to Pody Construction for DuPage County Campus Ring Road. County cost of $947,000. Department of Transportation $855,000, and Public Works and Facilities Maintenance $92,000.
Second most favorable rule.
Leave is granted.
Move to approve DTR 31721, a resolution to set a date for a public hearing on the Fair Share Road Improvement Impact Fee Ordinance ODT-021-S-89.
Leave is granted.
Move to approve amendment to DTR 16B19, amendment to a resolution to a local public agency agreement, amendment number 2 for federal participation between the County of DuPage and Illinois Department of Transportation along 75th Street at Napier Boulevard, decreasing the county cost $165,871.85.
Second most favorable rule.
Leave is granted.
Move to approve DTP 29721, an agreement between the County of DuPage and Sioba Group for Phase 1 engineering service along Army Trail Road over the west branch of the DuPage River section for a total contract not to exceed $233,018.85.
Leave is granted.
I would move to combine and approve H2M, which is authorization for overnight travel for various employees to attend the Effingham, Illinois, October 3rd through October 8th to attend the Illinois Public Service Institute focused on safety and excellence and to provide training areas for various supervisory skills, leadership development, and service excellence. Expenses include registration, transportation, lodging, meals, for a total for each about $1,680.74.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to combine these items that was described in detail for each one of them, H through M. Is there a second?
Second, Ozog.
Thank you very much. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The items are combined. There's been a description of the items. Is there a motion to approve H through M?
So moved.
So moved by Member Pachowski, seconded by Member Ozog. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Most favorable.
It's a request for leave. Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Pachowski. A fine report. Very efficient. Very efficient. We move on to the next order of business entitled Discussion. Discussion, we're familiar with this. According to Public Act 990646, pension obligation projections required by the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act. Anyone seeking recognition on this order of business? Seeing none, hearing none, we move on to the next order of business. It's entitled Old Business. Old Business. Anyone seeking? I see Member Sadia Covert.
You guys hear me? I can't hear myself. Okay. All right. Okay. I just want to thank our county staff and crew for working so hard and coordinating with our city of Naperville. I'm impressed with the fast response time and how well the county and city collaborated. I think Mayor Cherico handled this disaster storm very well in our city. I also want to thank all my constituents and everyone who reached out to me and my family. I just want to let everyone know that we are okay, so thank you very much. I'm proud of my community for offering help and coming together and praying. It was just really nice to see everybody coming together and offering help. So what I would like to, if anyone is interested in helping, they could visit our website, our city website, www.naperville.il.us, and click on tornado updates and see what's needed. So thank you very much to everybody, and that's all. Thank you.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you, Member Covert. Anyone else seeking recognition? Member Tornatore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if this is old or new business, but now that we're in phase 5, perhaps it may be time for us to think about removing the plexiglass that has separated us for the past year, and also maybe even reassuming our original seats here at the county board, so Member Schwarzer can come in from Kane County and join us in DuPage. I think it might be an indication to the general public that we're back to normal.
I couldn't agree more, Member Tornatore. Thank you very much. Member Dessart, followed by Member Ozog.
Thank you. I completely disagree with Member Tornatore. You can still get COVID even if you've been vaccinated. I prefer being separated. I will gladly trade spots with Member Schwarzer if he would like, but I want the protection around me. This is a deadly pandemic, and I don't think we're ready to go back to totally normal just yet. Thank you.
Member Ozog. Member Ozog.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I need to agree with Member Dessart. Some of us have health conditions, and we are only at, I believe, 60% vaccination rate in the county, which is really great, but that means 40% of people are not. And for many of us, we will be choosing to wear masks, depending on the situation. And I think continuing to have some kind of some sort of distance is not a bad idea. And we are not going to be back to fully normal for a good long time. School kids will still be wearing masks in the fall. I know that's controversial, but we are not out of this completely yet. And I think we, especially for those of us with more vulnerable health issues, need to have precautions. And any of us who are vaccinated can still get this disease. So I think we should keep these up for the time being. I think that stores are going to be keeping them up. And sometimes there's a new normal that we can adjust to. And I think any precautions we can have, especially inside, are not a bad idea. Thank you.
Okay, further discussion. I do think there's going to be some internal discussions. We'll take a look at the data. We'll look at the incidence of reinfection after you've been vaccinated. My understanding is everyone on the county board, everyone in this room has been fully vaccinated. So we're going to take a look at the data. We're going to look at the health experts, public health experts, and we will be guided by those principles. Of course, we will fully respect any individual member that wants to continue to wear a mask, and perhaps the solution is that the individual member who wants the plexiglass to remain around their desk, that'd be fine as well. But we're going to have to figure out how to navigate going forward. We have a body of 18 people here, and there's a difference of opinion, and so it's my job to try to find some common ground here. So thank you very much for those thoughts. I appreciate them, and we'll take them into consideration. Anyone else seeking recognition? Mr. DeCiani.
Thank you, Chairman. I brought this up in finance, but with what we had happen over the weekend, I can't thank staff enough. Murray Snow. I know Joan Olson had her crew. Evan was over at Woodridge yesterday for the press conference, giving them a hand. We had County Public Works out in Woodridge and Naperville. There were I was out there Sunday night, probably 9 or 10 municipalities lending aid to Woodridge. Just everybody stepping up, all levels of government, but especially our county has really done a great job. I know Mayor Gina sends thanks to the county and really appreciates the resources that we've been giving her. And having been there in that situation in the past, it's when your town gets crushed like Woodridge did in Naperville, it's a tough blow to a homegrown mayor like Gina. So and Mayor Chirico too. So prayers for them and for all their residents. For those that have been injured, special prayers. I know we've got a mom over at Good Sam, I believe, who was somewhat crushed by a tree and lost a baby. She was pregnant, so there's been some tragedy with this, and very, very, very tough. But we as a county, we as community, local governments have really joined the effort to make it the least impactful on these residents, and that's what we do. So thank you, staff, for being there and for doing what you do, and taking calls at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Nick, Cottonmeyer, we've all been really, I think, trying to do what we can to help these communities. So thank you.
Further discussion on the order of old business? Anyone seeking recognition? Anyone? Seeing none. Moving on to the next order of business entitled New Business. Member Dessart.
Thank you, Chairman. I have 3 items under new business. I moved to Naperville in 1980, and I've never seen anything like what happened on Sunday night. I consider this new business because it is new business. People are still out there cleaning up and will be for months ahead. I just wanted to say that my heart goes out to DuPage County residents impacted by Sunday night's tornado activity. Families in Naperville, Woodridge, Darien were impacted by the worst of the damage. I reached out to Naperville's Mayor Chirico to offer county services or equipment, wood chippers, heavy equipment, whether the county could do anything at all to help. I did reach out to the mayor, and the mayor was very, very appreciative that the county was here for them. My heart is with those injured, their families, and with the families who will be cleaning up for the next several weeks and months ahead. We are with you. The second item is much, much different. I want to thank the College of DuPage and the Mac Arts Center for giving us the opportunity to tour the Frida Kahlo Timeless exhibit. It is an amazing display of the arts, from visual arts, textile arts, and even music on Friday nights. The exhibit runs through September 6th, and it is just truly amazing, with 35,000 tickets already sold and visitors coming from all 50 states, plus Canada, the United Kingdom, and the Virgin Islands. So I encourage everyone to visit the Frida Kahlo exhibit at the MAC while it's here. And I wore my Frida Kahlo t-shirt under my suit jacket today to celebrate. It's an amazing exhibit. I hope you all get to see it. And the third item of business, I'm happy that Greg Bedeloff is still here. I'd like to recognize the work of Choose DuPage, who put out their 2020 annual project report yesterday. And in 2020, despite the awful year that it was, 147 businesses found their home in DuPage County. Amazing work. Projects in DuPage County represented $516 million. 405 jobs were created or retained. So in a year unlike any other in our lifetimes, there was growth and renewal and economic development in DuPage County, and I want to congratulate all involved, especially Choose DuPage. Thank you, Chairman.
Very nice. Thank you very much. Member Ozog.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was also at the Frida Kahlo exhibit Timeless yesterday, and I want to thank the Frida exhibit for inviting local legislators. We had people from both DuPage County and elected officials from both DuPage County and other areas in the region. Especially, it was good to see Beth Marchese there from our Visitor and Conventions Bureau. And I especially want to make a shout out to Diana Martinez, who's the director of the Macinich Arts Center at COD. She's done a phenomenal job bringing this really important exhibit to Chicago, or to Glen Ellen in particular, but the Chicago region. Diana, I am happy to say, has been named the Grand Marshal of the Glen Ellen 4th of July Parade. She's a lifelong resident, and couldn't happen to a better person and a more committed person. And when I think of the years of work that went into planning this exhibit, and then on top of that, having to postpone it completely for a year and then have it be such a wonderful exhibit. There's a children's area, there's a garden area, there's an exhibit of challenged artists. There's the actual artwork from Mexico, fashion exhibit. It's just an amazing exhibit and can learn an awful lot. And please try to get your tickets before September 6th. And what they've brought to DuPage is very special, and I was so happy to be there yesterday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else on the order of new business? New business. Seeing none, hearing none. I am reliably informed that we do not have anything to come before us on the order of executive session, so I will entertain a motion. There's a motion and a second. Is there a second? Seconded by Member Rutledge to adjourn this meeting to Tuesday, July 13 at 10 a.m. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.